An 18-year-old was hit by a car on White Bluff Road in Savannah last night. Metro Police say she is in stable condition at the hospital. Melody Johnson was crossing White Bluff in front of the Oglethorpe Mall when she was struck at about 7:30. Police say she wasn't in a crosswalk. She was also wearing dark-colored clothing. It's a 28-year-old Savannah man who was in a small hatchback who ran into the woman. No charges have been reported at this time. Now to a developing story. We are learning more about the former Valdosta bank director who became wanted by the FBI. Aubrey Price is accused of embezzling millions of dollars. He's been on the run for 18 months. He's also going to be required to pay up for faking his death, something that cost the Coast Guard almost $200,000. As our Jennifer Andrews reports, it's what he's telling investigators that's now making headlines throughout the nation.
You might call him a dead man walking. 47-year-old Aubrey Lee Price, a former Valdosta banker, thought dead, now very much alive and heading to a Brunswick courtroom. He is accused of defrauding a bank and investors in a multi-million-dollar investment scheme.
I started putting money into a retirement account when I was 22, and that was completely wiped out, and all of our savings.
Authorities think that Price faked his own death when he disappeared back in 2012. He reportedly sent a letter to family and friends saying that he planned to kill himself by jumping off a ferry. But the FBI didn't buy it, and he was eventually spotted outside airports in New York and Florida. But eventually he was declared dead. Then, finally, 18 months later, Price was nabbed for having illegally tinted windows during a traffic stop on I-95 in Glenn County.
We really didn't know who he was until we got here to the jail. And once we found out, we didn't know it was going to be this big, this extravagant.
When we brought him down to the detention center, prior to booking him, I went ahead and myself and Deputy Falk asked him, are you going to go ahead and tell us who you are? And that's when he let us know that he was Aubrey Lee Price.
It was like a weight lifted off his shoulders. You could see it in his face.
The U.S. Marshal said that Price told authorities he had been homeless and was working as a migrant worker, accepting cash for odd jobs.
That was Jennifer Andrews reporting. Price is expected to be in court here in Savannah on Monday. The search continues for the man responsible for one of last year's Savannah murders. Take a look at this picture. He's 31-year-old Maurice Bentley, wanted in the murder investigation of Michael Polite. Police want you to keep in mind that Bentley had braided hair, but he's possibly cut it. He's also a registered sex offender and should be considered armed and dangerous. Two alleged armed robbers are off Statesboro streets. Back in November, 3 people broke into an apartment at the Avenue at Southern and held 2 residents at gunpoint, then robbed them. After an investigation, police arrested Bradley Edwards and Xavier Lundy as 2 of the armed robbers. These men were charged with armed robbery, aggravated assault, and burglary. This case is still under investigation. If you have any information to share, you're urged to contact the Statesboro Police Department. A dramatic spike in Savannah homicides has police asking for your help. 2013 saw the murder rate shoot up 25%. A rise in violent crimes was experienced nationwide last year. In most cases locally of murder, police say the victims knew their attackers. WJCL's Renee LaSalle is working for you, trying to get to the bottom of the Savannah crime rate.
It could have been me.
Nicholas Black says the violence has got to stop.
It could have been anybody because the bullets have no name.
The 18-year-old was coming home on Christmas Eve and found a murder scene on Elliott Street, one of 31 homicides in Savannah in 2013.
No number is acceptable.
But those numbers are up nearly 25%. Take a look. The 31 homicides in 2013 are up significantly over the 23 in 2012 and the 26 homicides in 2011. Major Harry Branson says 22 of those cases are either closed, pending arrest, or grand jury indictment.
In all but about 9 of these cases is the perpetrator was known to the victim.
But those aren't the only numbers on the rise. Rapes are also up dramatically. There were 48 rapes reported in 2013 versus 25 in 2012 and 36 in 2011. Aggravated assaults with a gun were up too. 2013 had 163 aggravated assault with a gun reports compared to 135 in 2012 and 151 in 2011.
Anytime there's a rise in crime, there should be a concern by our community.
Major Branson says the department is taking every step possible to curb violent crime. There are additional police on the streets, and the department is working to strengthen community ties. Back in West Savannah, Nicholas Black says police are doing what they can, but the community must do its part.
You can hear about it all the time. You can hear it in your house, you can hear it. But you actually see it happening, it really does strike the chord.
Police are asking for your help to solve the 9 open homicide cases from last year. A list of those crimes is posted on this story on our website. Just go to WJCL.com. Call the Crime Stoppers hotline with any tips and you might qualify for a cash reward. In news around the nation, former Defense Secretary Robert Gates has returned home after a nasty fall. Gates, who served as Secretary of Defense under Presidents George W. Bush and Barack Obama, fractured a vertebrae on New Year's Day. His office released a statement saying he had fallen at his home in Washington state. The 70-year-old was treated at 2 different hospitals before returning home. He is expected to make a full recovery. Now he'll have to wear a neck brace when he goes on a media tour for his memoir, which releases later this month.